Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with a very important topic, which is realist approach or realism in international relations. It is found in paper number 7 of third semester, and the name of the paper is Perspectives on International Relations. But before I discuss what is a realist approach or realism in international relations, I want to inform my viewers that the name of my channel is Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. Never forget. In this video, you will find more than 520 videos which are related with plus 2 first year political science to plus 2 second year political science, plus 3 first semester political science honors, up to plus 3 sixth semester political honors, many videos of environmental studies, general elective political science and ethics and values of plus 3 first semester, and some videos of ethics and values and political science general elective of plus 3 second semester, and some videos of ethics and values of plus 3 third semester. I request my viewers that if you have subscribed my channel, it is all right, so that you will get benefit. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe for your future. And those of your friends who are in above classes, aware them about this channel, so some of the students will be benefited. Remember, never hesitate to give help to anybody. It is the symptom of a human being. And I want to inform my viewers that any video you want, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic in YouTube. If the video will be available, then you will find both in its Odia form and English form. Let us start. Realist approach or realism in international relations. What is realist approach or realism in international relations? It means how nations function really, how nations work really. Let us start. Realist theory is a leading theory in international relations. Realist theory is a leading theory in international relations. Prominent scholars associated with this theory are Max Weber, Frederick Schumann, Henry Kissinger, Hans J. Morgenthau. But Morgenthau, who was born in 1904 and died in 1980, offered a complete realist theory in his book Politics Among Nations. He is regarded as most popular of all the realists of 20th century. So, in international relations, realist theory is a very important theory. With realist theory, many scholars are associated, like Max Weber, Frederick Schumann, Henry Kissinger, Hans J. Morgenthau. But among these scholars, Hans J. Morgenthau has offered this theory in complete form. He was born in 1904, died in 1980, and he offered this realist theory in his book Politics Among Nations. And Morgenthau is regarded as most popular of all the realists of the 20th century. So what is a realist theory? Morgenthau, in his book Politics Among Nations, told about realist theory. He says that realist theory is based on an instinct of a human being. There is an instinct of a human being that every human being is made for power and wants to dominate over other, and for himself he can go to any extent. His instinct for power cannot be eliminated. In the same way, in the international relations or level, Every nation tries to secure its national interest by using power. So, Morgenthau's realist theory. Morgenthau told about realist theory in his book Politics Among Nations. Morgenthau speaks that the realist theory is based on an human instinct. In every human being, there is an instinct that every person, in every human being, there is an instinct which encourages human being to work for himself. Due to this instinct, every person is made for power. Every person wants to dominate over power. And this madness for power cannot be eliminated from human beings. So, in every human being, there is a nature or instinct. That instinct encourages man to be made for power. It encourages man to dominate over other. And this instinct to be made for power cannot be eliminated. On this instinct, realist theory is based. In the same way, in the international relations or level, every nation tries to secure its national interest by using power. Except this, there is not any second object of a nation. On this instinct, realist theory is based. Realist theory speaks that just as every human being is made for power and he wants to dominate over other, in the same way, every nation is made for power. Every nation wants to dominate in the international level. So, every nation works for the national interest. Except this, there is not a second purpose. Except this, there is not a second object of a nation. Every nation is made to secure its national interest. Just as every person wants to secure power, every person wants to secure its self-interest, every nation wants to secure its national interest. The object behind Sino-Soviet conflict, 1955 to 1965, the tussle between China and Russia between 1955 to 1965 was not ideological, rather for their national interest. They fought for national interest. Again, America's anti-terrorist policy also for its national interest. America wanted to end terrorism in the world. It was not its purpose to make the world free from terrorism. Behind it, it had its national interest. China's national interest also behind its policy of coexistence. China is declaring everywhere that it believes in coexistence, but behind it there is a national interest. So Morgenthau points out that every nation tries to secure its national interest. So Morgenthau points out that every nation tries to secure its national interest, make it strong and secure. This is realist approach in brief. Morgenthau has told about 6 principles through which nations work today. Morgenthau has told about 6 principles through which nations try to secure their national interest. Morgenthau speaks that every nation tries to secure its national interest on the basis of 6 principles. On this, realist theory is based. So, what are these 6 principles? 6 principles of Morgenthau realist theory. Number 1, first principle: politics is governed by a law based on human nature. Politics is governed by the first principle of Morgenthau is politics is governed by a law based on human nature. It means in every human being there is a nature which encourages man to work for his self-interest. Every man wants to dominate over other. Every person is made for power. So on this instinct, realist theory is best. Realist theory also speaks just as every person is made for his interest. Every nation is also made for its its national interest. Morgenthau points out that just as every human being is made to secure its interest in relation with others, so every nation wants to wants in real world to secure its national interest in course of its relations with other nations. So, first principle of Morgenthau is that politics is governed by a law based on human nature. The first principle of Morgenthau is that Morgenthau speaks that in real world every nation is busy to secure its self-interest. Every nation is busy to secure its national interest. Except this, no nation works for other interest. So, just as in human being there is an instinct, which on the basis of which human beings always work for their interest. So, in real world, every nation tries to secure its interest, tries to secure its national interest in course of its relationship with others. It means every nation in course of its relationship with other nation try to secure its objects. Every nation establishes a relationship with other. Behind it there is a national interest. Number 2. Second principle of Morgenthau. National interest defined in terms of national power. National interest is defined in terms of national power. It means all nations try to secure national interest by using power. Without power, no nation can secure its national interest. It is historically proved. Without power, national interest will be on paper. For national interest, motives may be noble or legal, will have to be sacrificed along with ideologies of a country, because national interest is primary. Second principle of Morgenthau is that every nation wants to secure its national interest through power. If a nation will not have power, it cannot secure national interest. Without power, the national interest of a country will be only in pen and paper. So every nation now tries to secure power for its national interest. Every nation wants for power for its self-interest, for its national interest. And without power, the national interest cannot be secured. Because for a country, national interest is primary. And for national interest, a nation can sacrifice ideologies and good motives of its statesmen. This is the second principle of realist theory. Number 3. Third principle. National interest is always dynamic. It means national interest of a country, national interest of countries changes. It means national interest changes from time to time. Events inside the country like catastrophic storm or loss of any essential industry changes people's opinion about which national interest is primary, which is secondary. So national interest of a country is not static, it changes. National interest of a country changes due to internal condition and external condition. If there will be any catastrophic storm in the country, or if there will be loss of any industry, the national interest of a country will be something other than what it was previously. So national interest changes on the basis of situations. So in the real world, national interest of every country changes. Number 4. Fourth principle. Abstract moral principles cannot be applied. Applied moral principles cannot be applied in politics. This is the fourth. Applied moral principle cannot be applied in politics. States cannot follow moral precepts to sacrifice its national interest. Individual can say for himself, let justice be done even if the whole world perish. But states cannot do it. Fourth principle of Morgenthau is that abstract moral principles cannot be applied in politics. In real world, nations never follow moral principles to sacrifice the national interest. For every nation, national interest is primary. In the real world, every nation gives priority to national interest. For a nation, national interest is primary, moral precepts are secondary. Just as a person believes, let justice be done, even if the whole world will perish. But states cannot do it. For a person, let justice be done, even if the whole world will perish. A person may believe that even if the whole world will perish, justice will prevail. It means a person is prepared to sacrifice for justice the entire world. For a person, justice is important, but for nation, justice is secondary. Primary is national interest. So, for the national interest, a nation can sacrifice moral precepts. Fifth principle: difference between moral aspirations of a nation and universal moral principles. Difference between moral aspiration of a nation and universal moral principles. Nations, for their national interest, may sacrifice universal moral principles, which are respected by all nations, as national interest is primary for a nation. For a nation, national interest is primary. In the real world, every nation works for its national interest. It may sacrifice universal moral precepts. It may ignore universal moral precepts. But a nation cannot ignore, never will ignore its national interest. Last one, sixth principle: autonomy of international politics. As an economist thinks in terms of wealth, a lawyer thinks in terms of law, a political realist thinks in terms of national interest. It means a nation always gives priority to its national interest. The sixth principle of Morgenthau is that in real world, a nation counts everything on the basis of national interest. Just as an economist counts everything on the basis of wealth, or a lawyer counts everything on the basis of law. So for a country, national interest is primary. So Morgenthau speaks that in real world, in actual world, every nation follows these six principles. Now discuss what are the criticisms of Morgenthau's realist theory. Number one, not empirical theory. Critics viewed that Morgenthau viewed that nations like men seek power and want to dominate over other, but it cannot be tested in laboratory. Critics point out that Morgenthau views that like men, just as man is made for power and he tries to dominate over other, it is the nature of a human being. In a similar manner, on the basis of this instinct of man, realist theory is best. So Morgenthau speaks that just as a person is made for power, every nation is made for national interest. But critics view that it is not empirical. It cannot be proved in the laboratory. So according to critics, this approach of Morgenthau is not empirical. Number two, a partial approach. Morgenthau views that struggle for power is the only determinant of international politics. But critics view that struggle for power may be one factor, but values also play a determinant in international politics. According to Morgenthau, struggle for power is the only determinant in international relations. But according to critics, struggle for power may be a factor, but not the only factor. Values also determine international politics and international relations. Number three, unscientific. Critics view that this theory is based on human nature, which cannot be studied scientifically. According to some critics, Morgenthau's view is unscientific because Morgenthau's realist theory is based on an instinct of a human being. In every human being, there is an instinct on the basis of which a person is made for power, a person is selfish, he wants to dominate over others. And on this instinct, every state is made for power, is made for national interest. But according to critics, human nature cannot be studied scientifically. So it is unscientific. Number four, national interest is not superior over morality. His view to give superiority to national interest over morality is criticized. According to Morgenthau, national interest is superior to morality. A nation for national interest can sacrifice morality. But according to critics, it is wrong. Morality must be primary. Now 5. Unrealistic view of the world. His view that world and world politics is static is not asserted by critics. According to Morgenthau, world politics and world is static. But critics are not prepared to accept it. According to critics, world politics, world is changing. Now 6. Limiting with political relations among nations. Morgenthau's realist theory is only confined with the political relations. He points out that nations only seek national interest and want to dominate over other nations. Morgenthau speaks, the nation wants to secure its national interest, it wants to dominate over other. It means Morgenthau is confined with only political relations. But critics view that Morgenthau has not considered other relations among nations like economic relations, cultural relations and technological relations. So in this video we have discussed Morgenthau's view about realist theory. In this theory Morgenthau speaks now or in real world how nations work. For them, national interest is primary. They will take those steps by which their national interest will be secured. For national interest, they will sacrifice ideology, they will sacrifice motives, and for national interest, they may sacrifice moral precepts. For national interest, they may sacrifice universal moral precepts, and for national interest, and they count everything on the basis of national interest. I request my viewers to watch this whiteboard and to listen me and try to be clear. Thank you. Have a very good day.